Welcome, everyone. I'm Sue Barber, author, former IT director for a Fortune 500 company, turned executive coach, and this is the Visibility Factor podcast, where we explore how to raise your visibility and play bigger at work and in life. We'll explore key topics and welcome guests that help you shift your thinking about yourself so you can see new possibilities for your leadership. I'm on a mission to create a visibility movement for leaders to show their value and be seen for their true talent. Are you ready to take the next step towards a higher level of visibility for yourself? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Visibility Factor podcast. This is Sue Barber, your host. Today's episode is going to focus on why so many great leaders are still being overlooked for promotions, new opportunities, and getting to do the things that they want to focus on in a bigger way. Leaders are being overlooked and undervalued, but it's not because they're invisible. It's because organizations aren't necessarily focusing on strategic leadership in a consistent way. So let's talk about 3 reasons why that might happen. High performance doesn't automatically create opportunity. That's why I wrote the Visibility Factor, was because hard work was what I knew to be the way to get a promotion. Work really hard, get noticed, get opportunities. And of course, that is not the truth. Visibility is what really makes the difference. So people know what you're doing and how you're doing it and why it matters. Everyone has the same assumption, right? That if we work really hard, deliver results, opportunities are just going to naturally follow. And while performance is essential, it isn't always enough. And I definitely experienced that. And so many of my clients and even my teams experience the same thing. So we have to think about what is really going on here, because organizations make decisions on what decision makers know, understand, and have confidence in, not just on the work that's happening behind the scenes. So what that means is you have to find ways to get it in front of them. You have to present. You have to be on things that get you noticed. You have to get involved in things that allow you to demonstrate different skills than maybe you can do in your normal day jobs. What we're trying to help you do is find ways to get in front of decision makers to show that you're ready for the next step in your leadership journey, whatever that might look like for you. Now, I've coached so many people who were delivering exceptional results, but couldn't understand why they weren't getting considered for the next thing. And their challenge wasn't that they didn't have the capability. They did. But it was really about them not opening up and being transparent about what they were doing and sharing that with other people. And they're doing great stuff. They've told me all the great stuff that they're doing. But when I ask them, have you shared it with others? Their immediate answer is, well, no. And part of that comes from, this is just part of my job. This is what I do. I don't need to tell anyone. Well, if you don't tell anyone, then they don't know. So how can you make sure that what you're doing and the difference that you're making is showing up to other people in a way that they can see it and hear it? So if you can think about a movie reel might be a trailer for a movie, and it gives you some insight into what the movie's about so that you want to go see it. Well, the same thing here is about how can you start talking about the things that you're doing in a way that gives insights into there's more to this person, right? They have potential. They're interested in doing more. They have the capabilities to do more. How can you start to talk about and share those things with people on a consistent basis and be very intentional about it so that they know about what you're doing? So what this does is it lets people see why you are valuable, how what you're doing helps you stand out, and why it matters. Now, you might be someone who has consistently said, well, it's someone else's fault that I'm not getting ahead, that someone else is to blame for that situation. And it's very easy to do that. And there might be some truth in that. That could be valid. If we set that aside for a second, what is it that I could do to make a difference for myself? What could I do to get noticed, get opportunities? Because what we're trying to do here is not focus on blaming someone else. That's not going to serve you and help you move ahead. But think about the reasons why you're not showing up, why you're not being seen by the right people, and how can you do that? When you start doing that and really focusing on what you can do differently, it changes the momentum for you. It gives you more energy towards helping yourself be noticed and get in front of other people. So let's talk about where people might not be showing up with the right perceptions. Some of it is that they're hiding. They're not showing other people. They're assuming that other people are noticing them and the work that they're doing. but they're not taking the time to really demonstrate those skills to other people in a corporate world. You are demonstrating the skills that you have, the leadership abilities that you have, the demonstration of thinking ahead, being strategic, being vulnerable, having executive presence that people can now see because you're showing it to them. So if you think about where organizations have the opportunity, it's, are they overlooking capable leaders because they may not see the full picture? Probably, right? And part of that is on the organization and part of it is on the person themselves showing it, right? Where we just talked about how can you get in front of more people? So I would say it's not only the manager's responsibility to get visibility for their people. It's great if they do, but let's just assume that they have 50 people. They cannot get visibility for each one of those people all the time. There's going to be different opportunities where they can do that, but it's not going to be consistent. And so you have the opportunity to learn how to do this for yourselves because everybody makes this huge assumption. And I did it myself, so I know it's true that my manager's going to be talking about me. My manager's telling other people what I'm doing. And I just want you to recognize that that is probably true maybe 10% of the time. That is not enough for you to get noticed and get considered for other things. They're busy. Everybody's busy. And so you have to find ways to proactively help people see you. You also have to think about, what do I need to show to people in order for them to recognize my capabilities and talents and be considered for these next opportunities? So you have to have some understanding of what is it that leaders in an organization are looking for to fill opportunities. What are the things that they are looking for in terms of capabilities and talents and competencies? And am I demonstrating those? If you can come at it from that perspective, it allows you to think about, where do I stand today versus what do I need to be doing to demonstrate those things to other people? What do I need to demonstrate to show that I'm ready for those things? And that allows you then to take some steps towards actions that might help you demonstrate that. And it hurts an organization when there might be some great people in the middle who might just need coaching or guidance to get there. So if we don't have enough people focused on how to help people learn how to do this for themselves, well, then an organization is suffering from not having enough talent at the right levels. Organizations can only develop, promote, and retain leadership potential that they can clearly recognize. There are so many people that have potential. They really want to do the right things. They're just not sure how to do it. And part of this is learning how to be comfortable with being more visible and talking about your results and successes. So I think it's time to rethink visibility. I think there's many reasons why we need to start thinking about this differently, because leaders don't want to brag. I was definitely that person. Introverts want to avoid the spotlight because it feels like too much for them. People may have had a bad experience and they don't want to relive it. They lack confidence in themselves. They fear criticism and judgment. What if we shift it a little bit and we start to say, what if we think about visibility in terms of the business impact you're making, the strategic leadership you're showing, or the new ideas and creativity that you have, or demonstrating how to develop them in role? That's not bragging, right? You're just talking about the things that you're doing already in your job. You're sharing facts and information about you and your work. So if performance and potential aren't always enough to fill the gap between doing great work and being recognized for greater responsibility, then how can we help people with that? How can we help people learn how to do that in a way that's comfortable for them, that shows that they're ready? So if you were given a promotion tomorrow, what do you know how to do well? And what is the gap? What are the capabilities, experiences, skills, and knowledge that you need to solve for that gap? How can you start to gain those skills and experiences now in the role that you're a part of today? And that might be in your normal day-to-day job, and it might be in some of those other things that we talked about earlier, like an employee resource group or other ways to do it. Find opportunities to make it happen, because you might be able to help people see that you are ready sooner than you think. But if they can't see that and you can't demonstrate that, then it won't happen. So let's talk about where you can start to fill that gap now. How can you start to demonstrate those skills, even if they're slightly different than what's needed for a new role? How can you start to demonstrate them now? We're trying to help people connect the dots to see what you've done and that you're ready to do more. So don't overthink it, but consider that visibility isn't getting noticed one time and then you're done. It's actually a leadership competency that you can start to build into your day-to-day work, into the things that you're doing, into how you talk about your work, into how you show other people that you're ready. What if you start to do that every day? It changes how you show up. Let's leverage the things that you are doing. What if the problem isn't that organizations don't have great leaders, but they're just overlooking the ones that they have? How can we help them see them, right? How can you start to show the organization that you're ready? It's a two-way street, right? An organization has a lot going on. So do you. So how can you make sure that they see what you're doing in the best way so that you get those opportunities that you're looking for? I hope this was helpful. If you know someone who would benefit from this episode, please share it with them. If you haven't left a review for the show, I would love you to do that. I really, truly appreciate all of the support for the show and all of the people who've reached out and told me that it has been helpful for them. Thanks so much for joining today on the Visibility Factor podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for listening to the Visibility Factor podcast. Remember that visibility starts with small steps that are intentional and consistent each day. Be bold, be visible, be the leader you were meant to be. Find us and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, which are highlighted in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Visibility Factor podcast.